doing some kind of a video dancing or something like that. You couldn't say that that has intrinsic value, but its value is dictated by the marketplace. So is your classification of a high value man, is it more intrinsic or extrinsic in that sense?
So I would say it's up to the individual, because I made a song, High Value Man, funny song, by the way. But the term itself, high value, was used as a precursor for wearing watches and chains and having success, cars and girls. But that was my opinion at the time of what high value was. But as you evolve, you become more placed on different aspects of life. And maybe for you, maybe just a TikToker that's on the internet with a lot of views. So I think it's just up to the person or individual what they decide for that to be.
See, I've got a take on this, guys. I don't know what you guys think of this, but hello?
No, go ahead.
We got you.
Yeah. Sorry. So I was gonna say, look, I get what you guys are saying, especially when you speak about men and women. Yeah. But here's my take on this. I think there's a kernel of truth in what you guys are saying, but I think it's mostly in the economic marketplace. So, for example, here's what I would say: when you guys use the term high value, you're usually using it in terms of what women would be attracted to, i.e., vis-a-vis something like hypergamy. And there's ample evidence. There's a Queen study, which I think is the most authoritative, that hypergamy is true. Like, in the sense that if a woman is given a choice between a man with ceteris paribus, everything else remaining the same, a man who's a higher earner versus a lower earner, she's always going to go for the higher earner, in fact. And that's the truth. Likewise, a lot of the stuff about what you say about women who have less experience in what you call a body count or something like that, it's true that's probably in the market, sexual market value is probably going to be less ceteris paribus, everything else remaining the same. Mm-hmm. However, here's the thing that I would think that is important to make a distinguish between. This is why I asked you the question about like intrinsic versus extrinsic, because in this very strict parameter of how the other or the opposite gender sees that person for marriage or long-term committal relationship or even casual relationship, that this whole high value man has weight. This term has weight. But if we're talking about intrinsically, as like, for example, remember I gave you the example of the block of gold versus the TikTok video. Intrinsically, a high value man has always classically meant, usually in ethics, for example, all the way up to Christian morality and Islamic morality and Jewish morality, most of the world's cultures, a high value man or a high value woman has always been like a virtuous man or a virtuous woman. So virtue dictates the value of someone on an intrinsic level. Virtue. So what is virtue? Like in the past, even before Christ, you had a person called Aristotle, who died 323 BCE. He wrote a book called Nicomachean Ethics. And he had something called virtue ethics, which basically like he mentioned some of the key virtues for human beings. The most important one for a man that makes him high value, opposite to a woman, and this is what I'm putting forward, in that paradigm, and also in the paradigm of Islam and Christianity, I would argue, and Judaism, is bravery. I'll put it this way. If you had the most rich man in the world, but he was a coward, he'd not be a high value man. It would be a disqualifier on an intrinsic level. Yes, he might be sought after. It might be sought after in terms of like women might still want to be with him, but they don't really want to be with him because of what he is or who he is. They want to be with him because of what he can offer. In other words, they want to be with his money, really. They want to have access to his money. So they're using him, utility value. Yeah, they're using him for his money because they're trying to access funds. That's what they're trying to do. He's basically an ATM machine. And so what I wanted to distinguish between is a high value man on an intrinsic level who exhibits things like temperance, magnanimity, forgiveness, mercy, kindness, but most and chief most among which is bravery, because a man needs bravery more than a woman to provide and protect. Yeah.
So I would agree with that. But my thing is that's why I was because you only spoke about it from the female lens, like how women deem like women deeming the guy high value. But what I'm saying is that you garner the respect of other men, and a coward does not garner the respect of other men. That's why it's very important. Like when I look at this term, not to just look at it from the lens of what females are attracted to, rather what do other men respect? And obviously cowardice is never respected. So yeah, if someone's a coward, then they automatically are disqualified because other men don't respect them. They can have all the money in the world, but they're a coward. So
that's right.
I say this perspective or virtue. But I'm saying, like, you know, when it's pretty much already implied that you're a virtuous man and that you're not a coward when other men respect you, because men, we tend to value other men based on their meritocracy, and that meritocracy is, you know, encapsulated in a bunch of different traits. Are you honest? Are you a man of your word? Are you trustworthy? Can I trust you to get something done and get it done when you say you're going to get it done? Are you willing to stand up for not just yourself but for other people that you love and care about? So cowardice has never been respected. So I would say that the virtue, that argument that you're making, which I agree with actually, falls into the other men respecting you, because that's what men respect, is meritocracy.
Well, I see what you're saying, but here's the thing. So this is an interesting parameter, but it's also an economic one. So, for example, I agree with what you said. I think that other men would respect another man with a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
They would never respect a man who's a coward, even if he has a lot of money.
Yeah.
So here's the point. I think that a lot of the red pill stuff, like that, we get involved in and stuff, or the discussions that we have, we overemphasize how much money we have to make in order to satisfy or to attract other women. And we underemphasize the virtue aspect of it. And I'm not saying that the money aspect of it is not important. I'm pretty sure that the money aspect of it is important, especially depending on how generous the man is. Because if the man is not generous, and which is one of the virtues, having a lot of money is not a problem. It doesn't matter. Even the woman, if she finds him to be stingy and wealthy, that combination will never work out because she knows what he's trying to do. So I feel like maybe, I don't know, moving forward with like Fresh and Fit and stuff, if we focus on the virtue aspect of things a little bit more, because I feel like the society is moving on to a degenerate state, bro. I'm not going to lie to you. And that is fueled by hedonism and capitalism. And also this idea that now Mammoth is the new god, which is the god of money. The god of money is the new god. People are now chasing money and hedonism and frivolous pursuits. They think that, for example, Rollo Tomasi wrote a book called The Rational Male, right? Mm-hmm. You've had him on your show before. I've read the entire book cover to cover. And he mentions in his book that, you know, you need to sleep with 50 women or whatever it may be in order to achieve certain level, so you can really have the experience, yeah, to be with women. I think I've seen you, Fresh, mention something like that before, because I watched a video before with you guys in Sneeko having a discussion, and Destiny.
Fresh calls it spinning, not Fresh, excuse me. Rollo calls it spinning plates or plate theory. I call it getting experience, right, and being